Well, we finished the first game. Sucked. Surprisingly well animated. Decent little charm, characters. It was a nice little romp on the story axis. Didn't do quite as well on the gameplay side. It was actually physically arduous playing through that game, and despite the fact that I was using, the save states that are built into the game, as well as a walkthrough, and wasn't doing the optional stuff, it still took us almost 10 hours to get through. It felt like longer. But now we're going to play the next game, aka technically the third game, but also the second game, Risky's Revenge, which I also haven't played. It's the last, or excuse me, the second to last. There's three Shantae games. I've only played two Shantae games before now, which was Half Genie Hero, which is where I started this series from, and The Pirate's Curse. And now we're going to play this one as well as Seven Sirens. And we'll be replaying the other two because we haven't reviewed them on the current system. So obviously we need to audit them. But the reason I'm bringing all this up is this is a true rarity for me. And I'm not sure how many of you have a similar experience in your lives. So, I'm an old fogey, right? So I usually got into the ground floor of most games. Final Fantasy 1, Zelda 1, Super Mario Brothers 1, Mega Man 2, actually. But, I generally got in right at the very beginning of most franchises because I was around for the beginning of most franchises. The first Shantae game I played was Half Genie Hero, which is 4. And I'm curious how many of you have a similar experience because it's been very strange starting with a pretty good game well into a franchise's development and then going back and playing the original. Like the equivalent of this is playing something like Link to the Past and then going back to the original on the NES. I always find that kind of fascinating from a historical perspective, from a game development perspective, and from just seeing where the bones of the franchise began and see how things developed over the years. But at the same time, God, that's just a shock. It's just a plummet down in terms of quality. Uh, and again, most of the examples I could name would probably follow a similar pattern. So I'm curious how many of you have had some similar experiences in your life. Maybe it doesn't matter the franchise. Maybe you played Assassin's Creed 4 first and went back to 1. Maybe you played God of War 3 first and went back to 1, you know. Or do any of you not actually have the desire to do that, which is perfectly valid as well. After all, you don't really need to see where things came from. You've enjoyed The Witcher 3, there's no need to play The Witcher 1, right? But at the same time, I've noticed a trend. A lot of people I know really want to go through franchises in order, even when I tell them, please don't do that, you will regret the experience. In fact, I know some people personally who will never actually play, to use an equivalent, The Witcher 3 because they can't bring themselves to go through Witcher 1. And they have to see Witcher 1 and 2 before they see 3. And I'm like, Witcher 3 is a good game, just skip to 3. And they just can't do it. They just can't skip over the games. So I'm just curious if anybody else's perspective and thoughts on the matters. Either way, that'll be starting now. I hope to see at least some of you there. And remember, stay pumpernickel.